Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV. I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. And if you're looking for some free science fiction and fantasy books to get you through this weekend, I've got you covered. Today we have a demon who cost a witch her job, time-traveling tourists, creepy zombies, maybe, whole bunch of romantic fantasy, and New York Times and USA Today best-selling authors. But before we get to that, hi everybody, welcome back. I want to thank Amira Lutfi for helping out with one reviews, but nobody else can make it here today for the filming, so it's just me. If you would like to join our MetaStellar community, please, my contact information is down below. We're always looking for reviewers, for other kinds of volunteers. We do everything non-paid. We're all volunteers here at MetaStellar. All the money raised through this channel and through our Patreon goes to pay for original fiction written by hundreds of new amazing authors. And we have 2 anthologies out and a third one already in the market, and I'm waiting for my copies to arrive. So pick those up and keep an eye out for the third one. And our next submission cycle is opening up on October 1st. We pay 8 cents a word for original fiction, science fiction, fantasy, and horror. So if you're a sci-fi writer, the link is down in the description box below. Get your stuff ready. And everybody whose story is accepted will also be included in our next year's anthology. So, hey. Okay, let's get into the books. We're going to start with number 5 on today's Amazon Sci-Fi free bestseller list. So Amazon has a free bestseller list, but all the books are free. They don't stay free for long. Publishers and authors make them free as a promo to get you hooked on those authors or their series. And you grab those books while they are free. They don't make it easy to find this list, but I've got the link to the sci-fi and fantasy list of free books in the description box below. So this was book number 5 on the list this morning when I started doing this article. The book is called Between Ink and Shadows by Melissa Wright, and it's the first of 3 books in the Between Ink and Shadows epic fantasy series. The other books are $4 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. So Kindle Unlimited is where you pay $12 a month and you read all the books you want, kind of like a Netflix for books. Well, this book is not in it. So the book is about Nim, who was born to be a thief, indebted to a magical organization that has her tied to society's dark underbelly, but she wants to get free. Her father used to be high up in court society, close to the king, and he got tangled up in a dark bargain that cost him his station and his freedom. But at least he didn't get hung. But his daughter did get settled with all his debt. So magic is illegal in this world, so criminals are the only ones who use it. And Nim herself is half human, and the criminal who holds her debt is one of the most powerful magic users around. And because of the interest on the debt, she's never going to be free. So, yeah, so the guy wants her to take one big impossible job, steal something from a senior official. It's an impossible job. And if she fails, she'll lose what little freedom she has left. And I love the beginning of this book, and I kept reading further. So I'm gonna let you know in the comments what I think of the whole book if I finish it. And so do check the comments and subscribe to the channel too while you're down, running around in the whatever YouTube has going on below this window. All right. Next, let's go on to something completely different. Dead Witch on a Bridge by Gretchen Galway. So again, there's magic and witches, but totally different kind. This is a modern day urban fantasy kind of cozy mystery story. So it's the first book of the 6-book Sonoma Witches magical mystery series, and the author is a USA Today bestselling author. The rest of the books are $4 each. And Amira read this for us, and she did not like it. So she says the world building was good, but it felt like a television series from the 80s. The protagonist is too serious, the situation is grim, and the protagonist is surrounded by a bunch of silly, useless supernatural characters. So she said she's not enjoying this book. Well, that inspired me to read the book because all of those things sound good to me. And I loved it. So the book opens with Alma is looking at a body in the middle of the bridge. That's the whole witch on the bridge thing. And she got there too late. There's a guy, he's dead, he was run over by a car, and the dead guy, like her, is magical, and he's a former boyfriend. And the reason she's out there on the bridge in the middle of the night is because fairy voices woke her up. And she ran out of the house in her pajamas. So she looks around and she hears a fairy screaming under the bridge. She can talk to fairies, so she finds a path down and tries to talk to him, but he doesn't have anything useful for her. Then she hears vehicles up on the street, maybe the police, and she thinks it would look suspicious if they found her hiding under the bridge in her pajamas. I mean, what is she going to say? That she ran out of her house for no reason whatsoever, and instead of like getting in her car, she like ran all the way over to the bridge. And the reason she didn't get in the car is because it messes up her magic. So, yeah, like nobody's going to believe that. So she casts a spell to hide herself and then wades through the water to get back home. So it turns out that the guy being dead is naturally it's a bigger problem. So the small town they live in has a hidden magical power that can cause supernatural trouble if it's not safeguarded. And it was her boyfriend's job to guard that power. And now both Fae and demons will be drawn to this town. So she gets back to her house and someone's inside and tries to attack her with magic. So she immediately fights back and she takes the bad guy down because witches are always strongest in their own kitchens. And the bad guy turns out to be her self-centered, obnoxious dad. And the reason he attacked her, he says, was because she was sneaking in through the back door and acting suspicious, and he thought she was a burglar. And then we get some backstory. She also used to be in the magical protection business, like her ex-boyfriend, but something happened, and she was honorably discharged because of incurable disability. And now she sells beaded charms for a living. And she's wondering if maybe her dad, showed up to steal some of them. She can't figure out what he's doing there. Before she can question him, he teleports away. And that's where someone else shows up. And the person who shows up is the handsome demon who cost her her old job. So I like Alma very much. I did not find her humorless. I think she has a nice, dry, cynical sense of humor that I vibe with. But she's capable and matter of fact. I definitely plan to stick with this book. This is exactly my kind of book. And also my kind of cover. I love this cover. It's everything I need in fantasy escapist weekend reading. Okay, and for more fantasy, we have this box set of 5 books. Dark Dimensions by Tamara Rose Blodgett. And Tamara Rose Blodgett is a USA Today bestselling author and a New York Times bestselling author. And in this box set, you get the first books of 5 different series. Paranormal romance, sci-fi romance, historical romance, fantasy sci-fi, a nice mix of things romantic and fantasy-ish and sci-fi-ish. And so and all have a strong romantic angle. So if you like that, people love her books. And if you're a big romantasy author, definitely check this out. You might have your next favorite author. And the other two box sets, so she has three box sets out, each one packed full of books. And the other two box sets are both in Kindle Unlimited. They normally cost $10. And the third box set is also free today. So you might want to pick that one up as well. And so the first book is Blood Singers, the first of 11 books in the Blood paranormal romance series. It opens with a prologue in which Julia is in the backseat of a car complaining to her mother and father about how much she hates her seatbelt and she's a kid and whining. And her parents are distracted and get in a car accident and die in the crash. Then we jump forward 10 years later. She's now a high school student living with her aunt, engaged to her boyfriend, and she can't wait until they graduate and she can move in with him. And there's all kinds of teenage kind of stuff happening at the high school and tests and papers, the romance stuff, all the usuals. Then we're somewhere else. Julia is being tortured by demons and she escapes into her memories, into her high school memories. So that must be the present day where she's being tortured by demons. And the high school was sometime prior to that, and then the car crash was 10 years before that. So, and we spent a lot of time with the high school and not that much time with the demons. So we get scenes in the boyfriend's point of view and scenes with Julia's best friend who has doubts about the whole getting married at 18 plan. So there's all that kind of teenage stuff. And then we go back to the demons. Julia just wants them to kill her and get it over with, but there's something rare and magical about her, and the demons don't want her to die. I like the part of the book with demons. I wish we'd stick with the demons. I'm not as much of the fan of the teenage drama and the love story. And because the book is mostly the love story and only a little bit of murderous demons, I'm probably not going to stick with it. But if you like romantasy, definitely pick up this box set because the book is very readable. So if this is your genre, you may just find your next favorite author. Next, we have something completely different yet again. The Night Singers by London Clarke, a standalone horror novel by an award-winning author. And the author has many other scary books up on Amazon if you decide you like her writing style, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So horror is my least favorite genre. I get creeped out very easily, and I don't like books that keep me up at night in a bad way. I don't watch zombie movies. I don't watch M. Night Shyamalan. I've never seen The Sixth Sense or that thing where everybody has to be quiet, The Quiet Place. I haven't even watched the Alien movies. Yeah. So I'm like that. Yeah. But since I'm the only one doing these reviews today, you got to do what you got to do. And I'm a little bit OCD, so I can't just skip this book. So the book starts with Callie, who makes her living writing about musicians, and it's set in the present day. She writes articles, biographies, and does ghostwriting, and ghostwriting is her favorite part of the job. Musicians tell her stories, and she writes them down. And it all worked fine until her latest assignment. Riff Fall, who used to be the lead singer in a famous band, and she was a big fan of his as a teenager. She was slightly obsessed with him. Now he's an agoraphobic recluse living in an isolated island house, and it's an 8-hour drive and a ferry ride from Nashville. And so she's going to have to talk to him on Zoom. And just as her first meeting is about to start and she's waiting for him to show up, a creepy woman comes to her door and starts banging on it and saying weird things and creeping Callie out. And she's ready to call the police when Riff shows up on the Zoom call and distracts her. And so on the call, they start with the usual stuff. She's trying to get to know him. Then he says something weird. He calls himself the Walking Dead and just kind of like waves it off. Doesn't explain further. But he also tells her that he's not going to tell her why he lives on an isolated island or why he can't leave the house. Well, maybe they can talk about his childhood. Nope, he doesn't want to talk about his childhood either. So she's having a little trouble drawing him out, which, makes for a bad memoir. So she suggests that she drive out to talk to him in person. But he says, nope, it's not safe. He decides the whole thing was a mistake, calls it off, and ends the video call. So she's a little disappointed, but what are you gonna do? The next day, she's out meeting a friend who's filming a video at an old warehouse in an industrial park, and she's heading home. And outside, a creepy group of people covered in tattoos, looking really scary, are approaching her, and they're walking weird, like they're zombies, and it's freaking her out. And she runs away and is cornered, and they're getting closer and closer. Then her Uber arrives, just as those people are about to reach her. And then when she turns around to see if they're still there, they vanished. Super creepy. The driver says he doesn't know what she's talking about. And then she gets a phone call and learns that Riff has changed his mind yet again, and now he wants to meet her in person. So yeah, I'm kind of creeped out by this. I'm not going to stick with it. But if this is your kind of thing, the book is very readable, and Callie is definitely a sympathetic character, and I like her. If not for the zombie thing, I'd continue reading. Before we go on to book number one, and probably one of my favorite books from this week, I want to thank our Patreon supporters. We are all, like I said, we're all volunteers here at MetaStellar. So our Patreon supporters pay for all the original fiction that we publish, and we pay pro rates, and they pay for the anthologies and everything else we do. So we love you guys. We would not be here without you. And now you can also join our channel if you want to support our mission and be part of our community. And you can also just email me and join up in person. So, I have books out. I have books on Amazon, so the links to that is in the description box below. I keep forgetting to mention that. And that's the whole reason I started this magazine, was to, get my science fiction writing career going. I'm a technology journalist during the day, so it's a slight departure. So let's go on to book number one on today's list. Time Tourist Outfitters, Ltd. by C.N. Jackson. This is the first of 4 books in the Toronto Time Agents Sci-Fi Adventure series. The other books are $6 each, but they're all in Kindle Unlimited. The 4th book isn't out yet, but is scheduled to be released next May, and it is available for pre-order. So I love the premise of this book. I would have grabbed it even if I wasn't the only one around to do reviews today, and I am not disappointed. So the main character is Wilda. She's been working for the Toronto office of a time travel tourism company. They do costumes. She's been working with them for 3 decades, and her motto is, things can always get worse. Haha, love that motto. And she deals with all sorts of annoying characters and a boss and just routine minutia that happens, and this goes on for a few chapters. So very slow beginning. I'm like 6 chapters in, and I'm still not seeing a plot. But it is a very fun setting, and she's a very likable character. So the setting feels steampunky, even though, like I said, it's set in the present day. And some of the customers are very posh and upper class British lords and ladies kind of thing, which is why this is giving me a steampunk vibe. And there's a lot of bureaucracy around time travel, and Wilda herself used to be a time travel agent, keeping everybody safe on the timelines before she retired because she preferred making costumes more than she liked to travel. And there's a hint of a mystery. Somebody comes into the shop who's sick, needing medical help. He's just come back from a time travel trip, and it looks like he was infected with something nasty, and nobody knows what it is. And maybe Wilda was exposed, and so were her staff. So that's something that could turn into like a plot. And also, she hears that there's a rogue time travel portal in the city, and people are making unsanctioned time travel trips. And this might also develop into a plot. So this kind of has a very cozy, cute, old-fashioned feel to it. It's very peaceful to read. I really enjoy it. Kind of like a comedy, kind of a bureaucratic comedy kind of thing. So I like it very much. And I plan to stick with this book and with let's see, this book this weekend. All right. So if you like any of these books, if you've read them, let us know in the description box below. If you have any questions about what we do, please go ahead and ask. If you're writing stories, please put us on your calendar. October 1st, our submission cycle opens. And if you want to hang around on our channel a little bit longer, here's a couple of videos you might want to watch with interviews of E.E. King, an amazing author. We're serializing her novel, Gods and Monsters, right now as I speak. See you guys next Friday. Oh, subscribe if you don't want to miss any of these free Friday videos. And we also have a newsletter that you can subscribe to as well. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye-bye.